What if I told you that one civilization shaped the entire ancient world? Its empires, its religions, its roads, and its very idea of justice. From the world's first superpower to a land of poets, philosophers, conquerors, and revolutionaries, the story of Iran is unlike anything you've ever heard. This is EncycloMan, and today we are going on a 7,000-year journey through the complete history of Iran. Buckle up. As far back as 7000 BC, humans on the Iranian plateau were farming, crafting pottery, and building some of the world's earliest permanent villages. The Elamite civilization rose in southwestern Iran around 3200 BC, one of the very first complex societies on Earth, with its own writing system, powerful kings, and monumental temples. Around 1500 BC, two new groups arrived on the plateau, the Medes in the north and the Persians in the south. These were the Iranian peoples who would change the world forever. By 678 BC, the Medes united the Iranian tribes and built the first Iranian empire, crushing the Assyrians and setting the stage for something even greater. In 550 BC, a young Persian king named Cyrus the Great overthrew the Medes, conquered Babylon, and built the largest empire the world had ever seen, all in less than 30 years. But Cyrus wasn't just a conqueror, he was a revolutionary. He freed enslaved peoples, allowed conquered nations to keep their religions, and issued the Cyrus Cylinder, the world's first human rights document. His successors, Cambyses and Darius, expanded the empire further, from Egypt all the way to the borders of India. At its peak, the Achaemenid Empire ruled over 44% of the world's population. Darius built the magnificent city of Persepolis, the crown jewel of the Persian Empire, with its towering columns, carved stone reliefs, and massive ceremonial halls that welcomed ambassadors from 28 nations. Then came the clash with Greece, the famous battles of Marathon, Thermopylae, and Salamis. The Persians nearly crushed Greece, but were ultimately turned back, a rivalry that would define the ancient world. In 330 BC, Alexander the Great marched through Persia, burning everything in sight. He torched Persepolis in a single night, ending the greatest empire the ancient world had ever known.
Alexander didn't just conquer Persia, he tried to become Persian himself. He wore Persian robes, adopted Persian customs, and even married a Persian princess named Roxana. After Alexander's early death at 32, his general Seleucus took control of Persia, creating the Seleucid Empire, a blend of Greek and Persian civilization that was completely unique in the ancient world. But Persian identity could not be erased. The people held fiercely to their language, their Zoroastrian faith, and their culture, and within a century, they were ready to fight back. The Parthians were a nomadic Iranian tribe from the northeast, tough, fast, and deadly on horseback. In 247 BC, they drove out the Greeks and reclaimed Persia for the Iranian people. For 470 years, the Parthians ruled, and for most of that time, they were locked in an epic power struggle with Rome. Two superpowers, two civilizations, fighting for control of the ancient world. At the Battle of Carrhae in 53 BC, the Parthians annihilated a Roman army of 45,000 soldiers, using a brilliant hit-and-run tactic of firing arrows while retreating on horseback, forever known as the Parthian shot. The Parthians eventually fell not to Rome, but to a rebellion from within. A Persian noble named Ardashir rose up, defeated the last Parthian king, and founded a dynasty that would make Persia magnificent once more. The Sassanid Empire was the last great Persian empire before Islam, and it was extraordinary. They revived the Persian language, made Zoroastrianism the state religion, and built an empire that was Rome's equal. At its height, the Sassanids ruled from Syria to Pakistan, a civilization of art, philosophy, medicine, chess, and stunning architecture that influenced the Islamic world for centuries. Their greatest rival was the Byzantine Empire. For over 400 years, these two superpowers fought brutal wars that drained both civilizations, wars of religion, territory, and pride that neither could truly win. By the 640s, both empires were exhausted, and an army of Arab Muslim warriors swept through with unstoppable momentum. By 651 AD, the last Sassanid king fled and died alone. A 400-year empire was gone.
Islam swept through Persia, but Persia didn't just accept Islam. It absorbed it, shaped it, and made it richer. Persian language, culture, and intellect became the foundation of the entire Islamic civilization. This era became the Islamic Golden Age, and Persians were at the heart of it. They built the greatest libraries, hospitals, and observatories in the medieval world. Ibn Sina wrote a medical encyclopedia that European doctors used for 600 years. Al-Biruni calculated the radius of the Earth with extraordinary accuracy, and Ferdowsi spent 33 years writing the Shahnameh, the Persian national epic. Then came the Mongols, and they came with fire. In 1220, Genghis Khan's army swept into Persia, destroying entire cities and killing millions of people in one of the greatest disasters in human history. Persia rose again. In 1501, a 14-year-old boy named Shah Ismail I rode into Tabriz, declared himself king of Persia, and founded the Safavid dynasty, one of the most powerful empires of the early modern world. Ismail made a decision that would permanently divide the Islamic world. He declared Shia Islam the official religion of Iran. This single act created a rivalry with the Sunni Ottoman Empire that continues to shape the Middle East today. Under Shah Abbas the Great, Iran reached a second golden age. He built a new capital at Isfahan, a city so beautiful that visitors from Europe said it was more magnificent than anything they had ever seen. The Safavids created some of the world's finest art. Their carpets, miniature paintings, silk textiles, and architecture were sought by kings and emperors across the globe. By the 1800s, a new dynasty called the Qajars ruled Iran, but they were weak, corrupt, and surrounded by hungry imperial powers. Britain and Russia were dividing Iran between themselves like a piece of cake. Iran was forced to sign humiliating treaties, losing vast territories to Russia. British companies took control of Iranian tobacco, telegraph lines, and eventually its precious oil. But Iranians fought back through the Constitutional Revolution of 1906, demanding a parliament, a constitution, and limits on royal power. It was one of the first democratic movements in all of Asia. In 1921, a military officer named Reza Khan seized power, later crowning himself Reza Shah Pahlavi. He modernized Iran with new roads, universities, and industry, but ruled with an iron fist, crushing all opposition. His son, Mohammad Reza Shah, became king next, and in 1953, when he threatened to nationalize Iran's oil, the CIA and British intelligence overthrew the democratically elected Prime Minister Mossadegh to keep him in power. The Shah launched his White Revolution, rapid westernization of Iran. Women gained rights, land was redistributed, and oil money transformed Tehran into a modern city. But secret police brutally silenced anyone who dared speak against the regime. By the late 1970s, the anger had reached a boiling point. Millions of Iranians, religious conservatives, leftists, students, and workers all united around one demand: the Shah must go. On February 11, 1979, the Iranian Revolution succeeded. The Shah fled the country. Ayatollah Khomeini returned from 15 years of exile and was greeted by millions of Iranians in the streets, a moment that shook the world. Iran became the world's first Islamic republic, governed by religious law, hostile to America, and determined to export its revolution. The entire Middle East shifted overnight. In 1980, Iraq's Saddam Hussein, backed by America, Saudi Arabia, and most of the world, invaded Iran. What followed was 8 years of brutal trench warfare that killed over 1 million people. Teenage Iranian boys were sent to clear minefields, handed plastic keys to paradise, and told they were martyrs. It was one of the most tragic chapters of the 20th century, and Iran endured it alone. After the war, Iran rebuilt. Despite crippling international sanctions, it developed one of the most educated populations in the Middle East, with more university graduates per capita than most European countries. Iran's nuclear program brought it into a dangerous standoff with the West, with threats of war, assassinated nuclear scientists, and crippling economic sanctions that hit ordinary Iranians hardest of all. Inside Iran, the fight for freedom never stopped. In 2009, millions took to the streets in the Green Movement. In 2022, a young woman named Mahsa Amini died in police custody, and the whole world watched Iran erupt. Today, Iran is a country of 90 million people, home to ancient ruins and modern startups, poets and engineers, tradition and rebellion. A civilization 7,000 years old that is still writing its story. Iran is not just a country, it is a 7,000-year argument with history. It has been conquered, burned, divided, and sanctioned, and every single time it has risen again. Whether you admire it, fear it, or are simply fascinated by it, you cannot understand the modern world without understanding Iran. And now you do. If this video opened your eyes, smash that like button, subscribe to EncycloMan, and tell me in the comments which era of Iranian history surprised you the most. This has been EncycloMan, where history comes alive. I will see you in the next one.